For a team that's been in the playoffs twice in the past 3 years and hasn't had a 10-loss season since 2019, you'd think there'd be some joy in Miami. But the air feels heavy. Smiles are rare. Mike McDaniel, the same coach who pulled Tua Tagovailoa out of a career stall and got the Dolphins into January football 2 years in a row for the first time since Dave Wanstead's days, is now feeling the heat under his seat. This isn't about a collapse or a losing season. It's about patience running out in a city that hasn't been satisfied with good for a while. Chris Greer's year hasn't been one for the scrapbook either. That big money Tyreek Hill rework? The Jalen Ramsey extension? Neither has paid off the way it was meant to. And the salary cap has been an ever-present migraine. This offseason bringing a dead money charge, so big it set a record for a non-quarterback. All thanks to the Ramsey trade. If McDaniel doesn't find a way to get this team back into the postseason, it's not impossible that Miami moves on, even if that sounds absurd for a franchise that had only 2 playoff appearances between 2002 and 2021. It might all come down to Tua's health again, but the offseason didn't just bring uncertainty. It brought exits, players walking out the door, familiar names replaced by questions. The trade set the tone. Ramsey and Jonnu Smith shipped to Pittsburgh, along with a 7th-round pick, in exchange for Minkah Fitzpatrick and a 5th. Darren Waller arriving from the Giants for a 2026 6th-rounder. Ramsey's exit is a story in itself. 6 years after forcing his way out of Jacksonville, he's leaving another Florida team in turmoil. Miami takes on $35.86 million in dead money over 2 seasons just to move him. Less than a year before, Grier had given him another market-setting deal, on top of the one they had already reworked when he came from the Rams. Ramsey's 2024 season was solid. PFF ranked him 11th among corners, but missing half of 2023, his age creeping upward, and a contract nobody wanted to absorb made his value plummet. And then came the talk about him clashing with McDaniel's leadership style. The April report didn't dance around it. It said the relationship was irreparably broken. Ramsey thought the Dolphins tolerated mediocrity. McDaniel had his own view, but it doesn't matter now. When no team wanted all of Ramsey's 2025 guaranteed money, Miami had to get creative. They agreed to pay $7 million of it just to get the Steelers to take him, and in doing so, they took back Minkah Fitzpatrick, a move that's almost unreal when you remember the history. Back in 2019, Fitzpatrick wanted out after just 18 games. He and his mother weren't thrilled about being used as a box defender under Brian Flores after playing corner as a rookie. Grier traded him to Pittsburgh, and the rebuild rolled on. Now, 6 years later, he's back. Fitzpatrick's resumed since leaving Miami. 3-time first-team All-Pro. 15 interceptions between 2019 and 2022. A deep safety presence that changed games. Yes, his splash plays have dipped the past 2 years. Only 1 interception since 2023, and the Steelers pushed him closer to the line of scrimmage more often than usual. But at 28, he's still got plenty in the tank. Miami is counting on him to anchor a secondary that's lost Javon Holland and Brandon Jones in back-to-back offseasons. They reworked his deal too, cutting it from 4 years and $73 million to 2 years and $33.1 million, with a small $4.5 million cap hit this season. That's flexibility and a chance to keep him long-term if it works. Jonnu Smith's departure tells another story. Last year was the best of his career. 88 catches, 884 yards, 8 touchdowns, and still no extension. Pittsburgh came calling, and now he's reunited with Arthur Smith for the 3rd time. Miami's left with a tight end group that's running on fumes. So they turned to Darren Waller, who was retired, injured, and about to turn 33. They got his rights cheap, but there's no guarantee he finds form again. It's almost certain they won't see the prime Waller, who had back-to-back 1,100-yard seasons in Las Vegas. But right now, they'd gladly take his disappointing Giants output from last year. That's how thin the position is. The extensions and restructures painted another picture. Zach Sealer went from bargain to one of the highest-paid interior defenders in football. Bradley Chubb agreed to a pay cut after missing all of last season with a torn ACL. Austin Jackson's contract got reshaped to free up space. Sealer's rise is remarkable From a waiver claim to back-to-back double-digit sack seasons, and now a deal through 2029. Chubb was on fire before his knee gave out, leading the league in forced fumbles in 2023. If he and Jalen Phillips, also coming off a torn ACL, can stay healthy with first-round pick Chop Robinson added to the mix, Miami's pass rush could be lethal again. That's a big if, though. Free agency was about quantity more than splash. James Daniels could stabilize guard if he recovers from his Achilles tear. Zach Wilson, yes, that Zach Wilson, is now Tua's backup, and that should make fans uneasy. If Tua goes down, the Zach Wilson experience comes to Miami, and nobody knows how that ends well. Nick Westbrook-Ikine should be a steady WR3. Mike Hilton brings veteran presence to the slot, and Ryan Stonehouse might be one of the league's best punters again if his knee is right. The exits hit hard. Terron Armstead's retirement leaves Tua without his best protector. Javon Holland is gone. Raheem Mostert, last year's touchdown leader, is gone. The cornerback group is thin enough that one injury could make it a liability. The draft tried to plug holes. Kenneth Grant, a massive force in the middle. Jonah Savaiania, a versatile lineman who should start at guard immediately. And Quinn Ewers, the once-hyped Texas quarterback, taken in the 7th round as a low-risk flyer. Then there's Tyreek Hill, always a lightning rod. He ended last season refusing to re-enter a Week 18 game, then hinting he wanted out, then walking it back. He had wrist surgery, ran a public 100-meter dash while still recovering, and stayed in the headlines for the wrong reasons. His production dropped sharply, from 2 straight 1,700-yard seasons to under 1,000. The Dolphins just gave him $54 million guaranteed, but with an August 31st option bonus looming. If trouble pops up again, do they think about trading him? This is where Miami stands now, a roster with talent but cracks. A quarterback whose health is a constant question mark. A head coach whose charm doesn't guarantee job security anymore. A GM making bold moves that don't always hit. An AFC that's only getting tougher. The pieces are there, but so are the pitfalls. Is this the season they finally break through and make noise in January? Or is it the one that convinces Stephen Ross it's time to scrap the blueprint and start over?